thank you, the organizer and initiator of this program. And namaste from Nepal, because you give the opportunity for me to learn many things. And I know not only for me, but different scholars from different parts of the world, they are also getting opportunity to learn many things, to share their ideas, and to get the ideas from others also. In this sense, I want to thank you once again. So I'm going to share my screen. So can you please help me enabling the screen share, please, sir? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Thank you once again. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, before starting my business, I want to introduce myself. I am Dr. Benuprasad Sitaula. I am from Nepal. I am a principal of a secondary school, and I have been teaching in a postgraduate level education faculty for more than 15 years. I am also involved in different international organizations, especially related to research and innovation. And I like to present my paper and train the international students in online mode also. And I have got some opportunity to visit some of the countries to present my paper offline mode also. There also I presented my paper. So actually, if I say very frankly, in Nepal, we do not have this type of opportunity and the organizations who can let us share our ideas, learn something from other scholars also. And luckily, I've got this opportunity, even I am the Nepalese citizen. So today, in this program, I am going to I'm going to share my ideas about women's right. That is my business today. And this is my outline of the presentation. It means how I decide to present my ideas, to share my ideas. I have some points. The first point is gender and sex. I go through it. I will share my ideas. Then second point is factors to be considered as women's right. The third point I am going to deal here is regarding women's right. Next one, historical development of women's right. Then resolution 13 and 25. Then the different other conventions, they had to be performed for the sake of the women's right. Then current issue on the women's right. These are only the points I'm going to deal over here. Yeah. Before starting about the women's right, let me tell you that the sex and the gender. Previously, it is supposed that there were only two genders, male gender and female gender, but nowadays another gender, third gender is also come into the existence. And today we say there are three genders. Let me talk about the genders and the sex. The general belief that a person is born as a male, female, or a third gender is called a gender. It's the definition of the gender. Gender is a biological process because it comes from by birth. The behavior of family members and the society to our sons and daughters based on the gender is called gender. UNESCO also defines gender as the biological difference between women and men. It is a universal phenomenon determined by birth, as I have already told. Sexism is also defined as the roles and the responsibility of men and women created by our family, society, and culture. Okay, now factors to be considered as women's rights. Before dealing with the woman right, let us observe, let us know, and let us discuss about some of the points that are how going on the women's living in the different parts of the world. Actually, men and women, they are the same type of human beings, but when right is given to the women, they are dominated by men. I mean, they are dominated by their husband, their father, their grandfather, and they have the pure limited rights. And we can talk, and we can make it very clear how they are consuming their rights according to these some of the points I am going to forward over here. Let me talk about the equal employment. Actually, men and women, they can work the same way. They have the same capacity and they have the same ability. But our society, even our law, it do not just make them to get the equal employment. When there is the advertisement of the service of the employment, sometimes there is written for male also only or for female only. That means they do not have equal opportunity for the employment in our society in the different parts of the world. Similarly, the right to vote in some of the countries, women are prohibited. They are not given right to cast their valuable vote, to choose their representative to rule over them. Only the male or the father or the husband or grandfather or the brother, they can cast the vote, but woman, I mean girl, they cannot cast the vote. This is also discrimination between male and female. Similarly, if we talk about the property of the rights, women are not given the right for the property. The properties legally in many of the countries and most of the societies are kept on the name of the male, not female. Similarly, freedom to movement, women are not getting the chance and the opportunity to move from one place to another place, one country to another country. Their family members, their husband, try to just stop them. They cannot travel alone. This is the discrimination. Similarly, informing women about their legal rights, they are not informing what they have the legal rights, what the rights and responsibilities they can share in the family, in the community, in the society. They are not taught like this. And there is the discrimination, genderly discrimination. There is the discrimination between son and daughter. There is the discrimination between wife and husband. These are the discrimination we found everywhere. This discrimination starts from the home. And there is the discrimination in school also, in the society also. And the place where the women are working, there is also this type of discrimination, everywhere discrimination. Similarly, right to health, they are discriminated for their health also. And the right to education, if we talk in a higher education, women has got a little chance. That is why a little percentage of women are also involved in the higher education. Actually, in the countries of the third world, women are very dominated. And the family member think that it is not necessary for girls to send the school to have a higher education, because after completing the education, they have to marry, and after marriage, they have to just go to their husband's house and they have to work over there. Then what is the necessary for the higher education? This type of thinking is found especially in the countries of the third world. Similarly, they do not have reproductive right also. Whether they want or not to bear the birth of the child, they are forced to stop or to have. They do not have their own right. Similarly, they do not have their right for the birth control. This birth of the child is on the willingness of their husband or the family members. Similarly, abortion, if they have unwanted pregnancy, in that case, if they want to have an abortion for that unwanted pregnancy, they do not have right. They cannot do this. They have to take permission from their family members, from their seniors. And similarly, abuse during childbirth. Yes, sometimes it is possibility that a girl in the underage also, she can give the birth of a child because so many causes their house and to work in the street also, to talk with their friends and to go to the market also. And they are supposed to be stay within their house, inside the rooms. This is the current situation in the different parts of the world. Similarly, child marriage is also another bad evils, bad practice in our society. And this is especially found in, I've already told, in the countries of the third world, where the parents are not educated and they do not think that what is the age for the marriage of her daughter. So they just got married of their daughter in the underage. And they have got a forced pregnancy also. Soon after getting married, they do not like to pregnant and do not like to give the birth of the child because they also want to stand on their own foot. They want to do something for their life, but they have no right to have own decisions. So in this case also, forced pregnancy is found. And freedom from violence, they do not have right for that also. So this is the situation. This is the situation of our women, of our daughters, of our girls in every society. Now regarding women's right, we are coming regarding women's right. What is women's right? How it comes to the existence, and what women are doing to save themselves, what other legal institutions are doing for the sake of the women's. This we discuss here. The protection and the preservation of women's right and interest are generally referred to as women's right. In almost all countries of the world, there is an inequality between men and women in all social, economic, political, cultural, educational, and professional fields. It is natural to have more time to spend, but women do not see the right to have. This is the situation. Regarding women's right, about women's right and about the deterioration of women's status, it has been found that the situation is improving in the last 20 years. Although the contribution of women in all the countries is abundant, the fact that they do not get the same rights as men is also abundant. The United Nations General Assembly has also passed the conventions. And in these conventions, there is especially Declaration of Human Rights, which was passed in 1948, December 10. Women's rights are clearly written over there also. Now, the different movement, different waves has also try to establish women's rights in the society, in the different parts of the country and the different parts of the world. So for the easiness to understand of these steps, I am making this into different phases, like history of feminism, first wave of feminism, second wave of feminism, third wave of feminism, and UN and women's rights. These are the steps that deals with how the rights of the women come into existence one after another. So let's start from history of the feminism. If we talk the history of the feminism, the Greek philosopher Plato, at the first time, advocated about women in his book Republic. He has published his book. Its name was Republic, and the first time he just advocated women's rights in that time. According to him, women come with the natural ability to work like men. Just as men can manage society and state power, so women can also work. He just expressed. At that time, nobody believed him, nobody helped him, and nobody come to his line. You know, at that time, Roman civilization also prohibited women from wearing precious jewelry such as gold and silver, and they did not have property right in Roman civilization. In the same way, women were not given the right to property. But Charles Fourier used the word feminism for the first time in 1937. His word was in favor of women's empowerment in terms of the fact men should give right and equality to women. Power and authority were subordinated and depend on these aspects. Now, after some time, the first wave of feminism started in the world, and actually it was started from America. Perhaps there were not many movements in favor of women's empowerment in ancient times, but in the history of American women, American President John Adams and Mrs. Abigail, his wife, were the first to raise the voices in the context of women's development movements in favor of women. They also advocated giving women the right to property and giving them the right to vote. The first time. After that, women's equality issues gradually progressed in the American environment. They had an important role for this. The historical work processed gradually. These important movements in Europe and America succeeded in bringing women to the level of men in terms of marriage, parenthood, property, and right. By the end of 19th century, women had received political rights, economic and social rights, reproductive rights, and the rights to vote, to cast their vote. In the first wave of feminism, women's rights were advanced due to social and economical pressure. Now came the second wave of feminism. After 1960, there is a second wave of feminism, approach and movement. At this time, the historical events, the end of the patriarchy globally took an important place. As a result, the increased activism of the women, American politics and parliament. The participation of women also increased in various fields in the different parts of the country. Women gained the right to develop their careers, divorce. After 1971, women become independent in all activities outside of their household works, and they started to go out of their house and engage themselves in the different social activities, political activities, and economic activities also. Now in the modern age, there is the third wave of feminism. In this wave, gender-based violence remained as the central issue. Against this, women's empowerment activities, when the discrimination between white and black people in the world addressing is already done. At the time, the Me Too movement, it is very important movement. I don't know in another country how it is, but if I talk about Nepal, this Me Too protest and Me Too movement play a vital role to shake the women's rights. Yes, the Me Too movement against rape and the women march related to reproductive women rights and civil rights have created a binding situation in favor of feminism by ensuring women's rights legally in different countries of the world. Participation has grown rapidly since then. Now we are talking about the UN and women rights. UN also has done many things for women rights. The convention defines discrimination against women in the following terms: any distinction, exclusion, or restriction made on the basis of the sex, which has the effect of purpose for impairing and nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, on the basis of equality of men and women, of human rights and fundamental freedom in the political, economical, social, cultural, and other fields. This is one of the very important articles produced by UN for the sake of women's rights. Similarly, United Nations Resolution 1325, it is an article. It was written for the sake of the woman. It says that applicable to the right and the protection of women and girls during and after armed and conflict. These are the special things. Similarly, Article 16. Article 16 also tells something about human rights. In Article 16 is very important regarding this matter. Article 16 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights ensures the rights of consenting men and women marry and found a family. Men and women of all age without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and to found the family. They are entitled to equal rights to marriage, during marriage, and as its dissolution. Similarly, marriage shall be entered into only the free and full consent of the intending spouse. The family is the natural and fundamental group unit, society, and the entitled to protection by society and the states. This is a great step taken by the United Nations. Beyond this, there are other different regional and international conventions to save women's rights. Among them, in 1980, 1985, and 1995, the International Conference of Women was held in Copenhagen, Nairobi, and Beijing. All these conferences produce a fruitful outcomes in the field of women's rights, and different countries which was participated over there, they made a clear-cut written amendment in their constitution, and now the women in the different parts of the world, they are just living a better life. But even there are some issues that issues must be discussed and must be solved. Without discussing and without solving these issues, women cannot use their right very properly. There are different issues, but some of the important issues I have written over here and I want to share among you. The first one is the gender equality and gender brackets. Even in this modern age, there is inequality and inequity according to the gender. So this is also the issue that must be solved. And women's autonomy, equality, and reproductive health. This is also in very critical condition. It must be discussed and it must be solved. Women's lands right. Yes, property right, lands right, the women are not still getting. This is also the subject to be discussed. And the next one is the criminalization of adultery, and similarly discrimination against women in nationality. And the last one is women rights defenders and gender discrimination. This is also the most important issues that must be discussed. So this is end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.